How's it going, everybody? It's been a while since I've been with you guys, but I wanted to jump on and just talk about a little bit of news from the on the investing front. In case you hadn't heard, uh, Warren Buffett, who I guess still is technically the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. Um, Berkshire Hathaway is this conglomerate that owns a number of businesses as a whole and owns significant stake in a number of well-known companies that you'd be familiar with. Well, he actually announced a week or so ago that he's going to be stepping down as a CEO of Berkshire Hathaway and handing the reins over to Greg Abel, who's been with the organization for a while. Warren Buffett is known as probably the greatest investor of my lifetime and in the lifetime of people even older than me. But for instance, Berkshire Hathaway. I'm reading off my phone here. They own Geico, Berkshire Hathaway Primary Group, Berkshire Hathaway Reinsurance Group. They own BNSF Railway, Fruit of the Loom Duracell, Dairy Queen, See's Candy, Clayton Homes. They have major holdings. They own major stock in Apple, American Express, Coca-Cola, Bank of America, Chevron, Occidental Petroleum, Kraft Heinz, Sirius XM, and Pilot Travel Centers. They own a bunch of stuff, and they are worth a ridiculous amount of money. But the reason I open up with the discussion about Warren Buffett retiring at the age of 94 is that his advice to most passive retail investors like me, non-professional investors who are just trying to do what they can to prepare themselves for the long term financially. But his advice is that most people, most unsophisticated investors like me, and I would assume some of the people that are listening to this, is that they should dump money into the S&P 500. An S&P 500 index fund is what most people should dump most of their money into, along with maybe treasury bonds or treasury bond funds or something like that. But his advice is that most people should do that, and he's like, and most people will outperform professional managers if they do that. You've heard me say here a number of times before that actively traded funds who are managed by professionals, uh, for the most part, have a difficult time beating the index funds. And the S&P 500 is obviously one of the uh, most purchased types of funds because of the low fees. You keep most of the money. So I just think that's interesting that a guy like that who has clearly been an active investor, but most people don't read the way that Warren Buffett reads. Most people don't analyze companies the way he does. And most people should not dump a significant portion of their portfolio into individual stock. That they just shouldn't. Because if you're like me, I don't have time to sit around all day and watch what's going on. I have other things to do. So my preference, I want to specify, is to primarily use index funds and just put money in and receive what the market gives me. So I just think that's very, very interesting that again that a guy like that he actually said that when he is gone, he wants his folks on behalf of his wife to buy S&P 500 with her personal money. Buy the S&P 500, and I think, like I said, I think he said maybe a treasury funds, but 90% of it being the S&P 500. Um, that is what the guidance he says he's actually already given if he happens to pass away before his wife leaves. So that's where I am personally. That's where I've been personally. I've been connected to an advisor or two that um, traded in actively managed funds, and you've heard me say before that I absolutely could have outperformed them if I would have just purchased the indexes. And so, why is it? What is one of the main reasons that you most people should probably not try to uh, dibble and dabble in actively traded funds? Well, I think if I can pull this up here, I want to show you why I think so, or what's a big piece of this. So this is from the SEC, the Office of Investor Education and Advocacy, and it's talking about how fees and expenses affect your investment portfolio. Very, very important. Again, this is one of the reasons I'm always talking about low cost index funds. This is exactly one of the reasons why, because people underestimate how fees can absolutely impact their nest egg. So this chart just shows over a 20-year period, if the annual fee is 0.5%, that's the red line here, it shows you what a $100,000 investment, um, it reduces the value of this $100,000 investment by $10,000 just because of that what seems like a small fee. In 20 years, a 1% annual fee reduces it by $30,000. That's the green line here. It reduces about that much. So you see the impact that what appears to be small fees has on yours and my portfolio. So I wanted to scroll down here because I wanted to show you how do transaction fees affect your portfolio? How do ongoing fees affect your investment portfolio? That's not where I want to get. Right here. What's an example of there are a couple kinds of fees. Transaction fees. Uh, so that's what this is talking about. An example of a transaction fee. Commissions. One of the reasons that actively traded funds don't outperform indexes is because there are commissions, sales commissions. When you buy or sell something through a financial professional, they charge you commission. There are markups. There are sales loads. There are surrender charges. All of these things that impact your portfolio. Here's an example of what's called an ongoing fee: investment advisory fees, uh, annual operating expenses, and 401k fees. So the point is that fees matter. Fees matter. And I saw a post the other day where this guy is literally trying to leave a particular well-known financial advisor firm that you may have one or two local branches in your hometown. And I think they were charging him like 1.7% of assets under management. 1.7%. That will cripple a portfolio. And a lot of times, those fees, if you don't pay attention to your statements, a lot of times they're hidden. They're not called out. They're not in bold. They're somewhere on there, but you have to go look for them. And honestly, I don't think that's by mistake. I think it's intentional. Until you start going and looking, and I did that one time. Again, I'm not with this person anymore. I said, well, let me just see exactly what they're charging me. And I went, found a statement, started flipping through, and maybe next to the last page, and I saw they were charging me an astronomical fee. And that is what broke me. And that is what caused me to completely scrap that model and to start doing it on my own. That is absolutely what triggered me and caused me to. I told my wife, I got to do something. I said, I can do this on my own. They're not doing anything I can't do. I'm not saying I'm the expert or I'm a know-it-all, but in this accumulation stage, I'm not retired yet. I can do this on my own, and that's what I did. I shut that down, transferred the money away from them into Vanguard, and let's just say the rest is history. So fees matter. So I know I started out this video talking about Warren Buffett, who is definitely an active trader, but most people are not Warren Buffett. And most people, in my opinion, should put a significant portion of their investments in low cost index funds. I mean, some of these funds are now charge you 0.03% expense ratio. That's almost zero. I mean, so what's that? So even if you had, let's say you had $200,000, if they charge you 0.3% annually, that's, what is that, $600 a year or something like that? Yeah, $200,000, 0.03%. So that's times $200,000 times 0.0003. Yeah. So 60 or 600. I can't get my fingers to work right on my calculator, but that's next to nothing for that amount of money. So that's what I think most people should do. Again, I'm not an advisor, but I just think you lose a lot of money by trying to jump in and out and actively manage and actively trade, because the fees will tend to eat your lunch, so to speak. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, Warren Buffett stepping down after he's turned 94 years old, and he is an investing legend for sure. He is an investing legend, and everybody knows who it is who remotely know anything about investing. And so now the question is, what's going to happen with Berkshire when he steps away? Change is hard sometimes, so it's going to be interesting to watch that story. But again, for the sake of you and me, let's keep it simple. Let's just keep it simple. The key determinant as to how well you do is whether you put money in your funds or not. That's the main thing. All right, guys. Hope you have a great day. Talk to you soon.